How's it going, wrestling fans? Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Wrestle Report, episode 46, with Phil and Don. I am Phil.
And I'm done.
Blood and Guts and the Forbidden Door are both in the rearview mirror, and we're looking ahead at Money in the Bank this weekend. So plenty to talk about, and I want to start it off this way. Have you ever had such like a terrible day that the only thing good about the terrible day is you know the next day can't be as bad? You're like, you
Hmm.
go to bed and you're like, all right, nowhere to go but up, right?
Yeah.
Leading into the Forbidden Door, my excitement level was like a 7. And it should have been like a 13. Because the matches that, with all the injuries that we've had recently, it really butchered what this card was meant to be. I
Yep.
mean, we know it was supposed to be Punk Tanahashi. It was supposed to be Adam Cole and Jay White 1-on-1. It was supposed to be Adam Page and Okada. Buckshot versus Rainmaker. All these great matches that we didn't get because between our last episode and this one, we've had the most depressing string of injuries that I can
Yes.
remember at any point. If you think of any that I didn't write down here, you let me know. But I have, and this is across both of the big companies: CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Kenny Omega's still hurt. People forget. Bryan Danielson, Kyle O'Reilly, Big E, Rhea Ripley very recently. Adam Cole got injured at the event, and while it's not an injury, the entire Jeff Hardy situation. So like maybe I forgot a few, but that just proves my point,
Matt,
like how bad it was.
Matt Hardy got hurt too at AAA.
Oh,
Um,
I didn't even know that. There you go. There's another one. That was funny though. But for those who didn't see, it was supposed to be the Hardys against Viking King and someone else at AAA, and they had John Morrison come and be Johnny Hardy to fill in for. So that was cool. That was funny. I'm glad you brought that up because I that did kind of slip my mind. So yeah, there's another one. But I can honestly say Forbidden Door, which I did watch. I watched the second half live, and then I doubled back and I watched the rest of it because I got home late from work. But like, damn, extra inning baseball games. But but I thought the show was great, especially for what they had to like. It was a 8.5, 9, I think, and given what they had to work with, that makes it like a 10 or an 11. Like what we actually got in ring was great. The biggest flub up was I mentioned Adam Cole's injury, kind of ended the IWGP Fatal 4-Way a little strange because of the injury. They just kind of pinned Adam Cole, and everyone didn't quite know what was wrong. But aside from that, man, like this was some good stuff. And I'm not a New Japan expert. I knew many of the guys. I knew 75% of the New Japan guys that were on this card. The extra 25% still impressed me, I thought. But this was fun, and like, there's no way that they can be in this disarray when they try this next year because they have said this will be an annual thing. So like, if it's a little shaky getting off the ground, they're in the air now, and they even mentioned they might do one of these in Japan, which I think will be really cool. Might
I
be a
think that would be
weird
cool.
weird time zone for us, but hey, that's what other wrestling fans deal with in other parts of the world all year. So we can deal with it
Yeah.
for one thing. So I don't know if you watched it live or watched it later, but what did you think of Forbidden Door?
I watched it live. It was pretty good, really good. It was a really good pay-per-view, like you said. Due with the circumstances that they was in already, so it
Mm,
was it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. Um, there was some hiccups, like you said. I felt like there was more New Japan losses than AEW losses, if you really think about it.
right.
Um, but I would say my match of the night was Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay. I didn't think that was gonna be like
Yeah, I mean,
that.
definitely. Orange Cassidy had something to prove. Maybe he really doesn't anymore. But I think when you put him against a serious competitor like this, people still revert back to, oh, he's a comedy guy. So I agree. I think for most people that is, the match of the night. And you said like it might have been a little AEW heavy with the wins, and it felt that way as you watched it. But I went back and looked, and it's like Moxley beat Tanahashi, and then Will Ospreay beat Orange Cassidy. Those are like the two big like main eventer versus main eventer matches, right?
Mhm.
So that's 1 point each. The Fatal 4-Way had 2-2, and the New Japan guy won, but he also beat a New Japan guy, so that evens out. The AEW, the tag team title match, AEW won. FTR getting their third set of belts. That gym bag, man, going through the airport, gotta be like Jim Cornette always jokes that like one of his shoulders is lower than the other because he used to carry the Midnight Express's bags and they were champions all the time. They've got to be dealing with They probably wish they still had Tully that way he could just carry their bags or whatever.
Carry,
Uh,
yeah.
but I was happy for FTR. I thought that was the right move, and that one was kind of interesting because you had FTR being AEW, you had United Empire. I'm a huge Jeff Cobb fan, by the way. When we were, I think it was 2018. It was like right before me and you really started hanging out. They had that New Japan show at the Ocean Center, and it was with that gaming convention. And I actually got to meet, and I have an 8x10 from Jeff Cobb. Very, very cool dude.
That's pretty cool.
Um, Great O'Con, never seen much of him, but he impressed a lot of people just being like the big dude that could do everything. So you had an AEW.
Apparently he's a porn star apparently in
Really?
Japan.
I mean, I saw the weird Instagram thing. I didn't know if that was just him being okay. Well, so we have Japanese Val Venus and we have Jeff Cobb, and then you have Roppongi Vice that are kind of like half and half because they're in AEW and Rocky's still in New Japan, so that's kind of a wash. Then a lot of these matches kind of mixed teams. Like you had Jericho Guevara and Suzuki against Kingston, Yuta, and Shota Umino, who I don't know a lot about, but he's getting trained by um, Yuta and some of the other guys. So he was meant to be in that spot as like a young guy. So I guess what I'm really trying to say is, and then like Claudio debuted, which was awesome, beat Zack Sabre Jr. That's probably the tiebreaker. So really, AEW, feel like they only got like maybe a point up on New Japan. It was relatively even, I guess, is what I'm trying to say when you really break it down. But I agree, watching it live, it felt like the AEW guys kept winning. But like when I go back and look, I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't as bad as I thought, you know?
When you break it down, it's like okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, like even if you count in the pre-show, like they randomly threw in, Keith Lee and Strickland against Suzuki-gun. I didn't expect to see that. We mentioned all the New Japan guys, or I'm sorry, all the AEW guys that were hurt. There's a few New Japan guys that I did know that I would have liked to see. One, I remember with the Young Bucks match, one of the guys got sick, so it went from like a 8-man tag to a trios match, which we can't do nothing about that. I do forget that guy's name. I remember when he used to come out with the cat named Daryl. He had this stuffed animal cat, and it was kind of like Al Snow in head. Like he treated it like it was alive, and like he still had that gimmick back when we saw him in 2018 or 19, whenever that Ocean Center show was. So that was one call back. But like, where's Evil? Where's some of the other well-known New Japan guys? Maybe they just didn't have enough to. They wanted to get a lot of people on the show. I mean, you notice there was so many like multi-man matches and stuff.
Is Tomka?
Tyson Tomko.
Yeah, is he's still at New Japan? I know he's been doing a lot of
I don't think he
Impact
wrestles
stuff.
much anymore.
I know he was doing some stuff with Impact
Yeah,
for the
I
Bullet
haven't
Club.
I haven't seen him in a while. I don't think he does much anymore. And I guess the other big match was that All Atlantic Championship, which we haven't really got to talk about. We talked about it for a minute, but like I thought they were going to give us trios titles, and they gave us this. The concept of the title, I'm all for. I may have said this last episode, but it bears repeating. The concept of it, where it's almost got like a World Cup feel to it, where everyone's representing their country, I'm all for. The name, I don't know what you would call it though. I can't sit here and say I have a better name right now for that concept. But All Atlantic doesn't make a whole lot of sense for this belt. I mean, people have pointed out Japan is not in the Atlantic Ocean, and
Mexico's not in the Atlantic Ocean either.
right, exactly. Uh, I will say this. I was happy for Pac getting the win because he's someone that like probably should have held a belt at some point
Long time
already.
ago. Hell
He's
yeah.
had weird instances where he's been stuck in England and it's kind of killed some pushes that he's had. So I do feel bad in that instance for him. So it's good that he got this. And what was the other one I was gonna mention here? Oh, the Thunder Rosa Tony Storm match, perfectly good match, and I understand why it's here because you don't want women to not be represented at all on the show. But like, it doesn't fit on the show because New Japan doesn't have a women's
Yeah,
division.
women's
There's a
division,
company
right.
called Stardom that New Japan runs.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Which I don't know if they're fully off the ground yet, but Stardom, for example, like New Japan
Yeah.
owns Stardom. It's its own separate entity. It's the way like Manchester United has their own like women's team, and there's a women's Premier League. Like it's kind of ran the same way. So like maybe you try to pull somebody from that to represent on here. That would have been a little bit of a better idea. But they just it just screamed of like, well, we don't want to have a whole show without women, which I agree. Like I don't want that to happen. But if this is the case, pull somebody from Stardom for this. That'd be my only other real nitpick from the show.
Yeah, I definitely hear that, and I definitely feel that too because I felt the same way. And I saw like a lot of posts from people that was actually at the event that people was actually leaving during, like, I guess they use that as a bathroom break
Mhm.
to go or food break,
Sure.
which is sad because both wrestlers are great. Tony
Yeah.
Storm and Thunder Rosa are great in the ring.
And I agree that it's like it sucks, but like when you went to a show to watch New Japan versus AEW,
Yeah,
if you're gonna go to the restroom, like you go during the one match that isn't that, I guess. So like I get it. I don't think anybody that left at that moment, did it in a disrespectful manner. So there was that. Naito is another guy that I was hoping to see here. He's pretty high up on the food chain and New Japan. He might be hurt too. Like you said, there's just so many injured people. But overall, I thought it was a good show. There was whispers that they were gonna have some fun with this and have like Hangman win the IWGP title and have Tanahashi win the AEW title, and there was like gonna be this little, your belts are in different companies for a while. And considering this is all an interim thing for AEW, I would have said go for it. Like to have Tanahashi connected to your lineage in any facet, it would be a great idea. And maybe New Japan didn't quite want to do that. But I mean, them defending their titles, I was totally okay with. Um, but would have been cool. But the title's not changing. It's that way. The big title change was the tag team titles. So there's
yeah.
that.
I think that was the only, well, that and the All Atlantic. That was the only two titles that was changed, right?
Yeah, I mean, one was gonna change because it was brand new, obviously, and
Yeah.
then but the tag titles that was the other big change, I guess. But the other thing I would say about the title situation, they kind of had to throw that fatal four way together. I'm convinced that Okada. There was a time where he wasn't going to be on this show because I guess his wife is expecting soon. But with all the injuries, they're like, and apparently it's not till August though. So they're like, all right, we gotta get you on this show. And I figured if you're going to go through the trouble of getting Okada, like I think him and Hangman, because Hangman called out the champion Okada, and I think
Yeah.
it would have been cool to be like, all right, while I spoke too soon, you lost the title. I still want to fight you and kind of make him feel as important as the champion, and I think that would have been really cool.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, there's some matches left on the table. We wanted Brian Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. We'll get those down the line, I think. But overall, good show, great show given the circumstances, and I look forward to round two, maybe in Japan as soon as next year. That'd be pretty sweet.
I've heard rumbles that they're talking about doing it this year as well, doing a second one like later on in the year.
That would be cool if they do like one in each place per year. And then at that point, AEW was up to their 6 pay-per-views that we've always said would be kind of sweet if they left it right at 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be cool. We'll see how that pans out. So the way I kind of took this too, because like 3-4 days later, whatever it is, we have Blood and Guts. So it's like you ever go to like someone's birthday and they give you like this big piece of cake and you eat it and you're like, oh, that was really good. I'm stuffed now, but like that was really good. And then like they come around the corner and say, oh, I forgot the ice cream. Here you go. And you're like, oh, damn, I'm already. And but you have it because you're there. That's
Yeah.
what Blood and Guts feels like. Because like this show was awesome, and you turn around 3 days later, like, oh wow, we got this pay-per-view quality thing right around the corner. And like being on TV, it was basically the whole second hour of the show. They had some good stuff in the first hour. Ethan Page and Orange Cassidy from Dynamite was nice and everything. But clearly, if you tuned in, it was for this. And while I would say just overall, the original Blood and Guts was better, minus the snafu with Jericho, because the spot with Sammy coming off the top looked a lot better than what Jericho did last year. I think the commercial breaks were taken at better times this time around. I thought if it's hard to do one of these on regular television, and I
Yeah.
feel like it was done better in TV land the second time around. While the first match might have been better because I think the story made more sense for the first one. I think TV wise, it was much better this time around.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Um, I will say this though, they 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 could lose some of those weapons, man. Like some of the weapons were unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the shattered glass unnecessary. The thumbtacks I can understand because that's what John Moxley does sometimes. A lot of times.
Yeah.
The skewers, what are the bitches called? Skewers?
Well, like the fork thing they use, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Unnecessary.
Mhm.
A lot of blood. That was a lot. It was a lot of
I
blood
mean,
in
the
that
blood
shit.
I expect, like, and Eddie with like a kendo stick, I expect.
Yeah,
Couple chairs, I expect, but yeah, like
the
there's certain.
table. Yeah, some of the stuff. The barbed wire bat. Uh,
I mean, Jericho's thing is a bat,
yeah.
so I guess I understand that one. But like, and what'd you think of them going back to the spot to the throwing them off the cage thing, going back to it second time around?
It was perfect. I think it was
Yeah,
perfect because the right person actually took it.
yeah,
Sammy Guevara is crazy already.
mm,
Once I seen Sammy Guevara go up, they already knew it was coming.
yeah. Somebody pointed out before the show how like the timekeeper table was on this big thick like several table thing, and we're like, oh, we know what's happening, and like I'm glad they got it right, but like
Yeah,
if and when there's another blood and guts, like no more of that for a while. Like you got, I understand the first one didn't go as planned. You wanted to do it right the second time. You
yeah.
did it. Now next time, I actually thought because the way the cage was built on the ceiling that maybe somebody was going through the middle
That's
through,
what I thought too.
which might happen next. You never know because like I said, they need to. You did it right on the second time around. All good. Now find something else. That would be my only other nitpick. What do you think of the way the ending shook out?
I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it actually. It was great storytelling because you got this mini feud between Claudio and Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston wanted to make Jericho submit,
Right.
and basically Claudio took his thunder.
Hmm.
So I feel like you just basically started a whole another rivalry, even though it was already a rivalry.
Yeah.
Um, so I was expecting, to be honest with you, I was expecting Claudio to to turn on them.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Just because he has this bad blood with Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, and I'm glad they didn't do that. They might down the road, but like that
Yeah,
would have been too much in one show.
yeah,
Um,
you're right.
One thing I forgot to mention the Real Americans reunion.
That was
Popped big for that. The crowd with the "We the People" chant. That was like whether people realize it or not. That was the most over Jake Hager, Jack Swagger has ever been in his career. So like
but all they need is Dutch, bro. If they had Dutch in there too, that would have been
absolutely. I mean,
dope.
how they never won the tag titles in that era, I don't understand. But this can go, like I said, a few different ways. We all know about the Cesaro Kingston feud. We've only heard one side of the story. It's always been Kingston talking about how much he doesn't like Cesaro. Not never really heard much about Claudio. I got to get used to calling him that again. Why he doesn't like Kingston. We've never really heard much from that side of the story.
I don't know if you heard this, but JR called Claudio Cesaro,
Yeah,
and Taz was like me. He was like Claudio. Is
and he calls him like Claudio Cesaro. I think at that point.
yeah, yeah. I was
I
like,
get
what?
it, dude, man. Like I just did it 3 times. Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Mhm. But yeah, it's funny. And then I think there was a Daniel Bryan slip up at one point
Yeah,
too. I think that happened. But yeah, those things. Try not to. As long as it's not back when AEW did like the tribute to the COVID era of wrestling, and then JR was like signing off for the WWE. Like that was bad. But anything short of that, I'll deal
yeah,
with.
yeah. Names is
It's
cool,
one thing. Yeah.
but if you go and say the WWE
Mhm.
itself, then yeah,
And like I don't know if you noticed on Dynamite for the Blood and Guts thing, like JR didn't do the first half of the show. He came
yeah,
out for the main event, and I've been saying for a while that if you turn JR into like, so in New Japan they have this referee they call Red Shoes, and he does all the championship matches, and he's got like the Under Armour long sleeve shirt under his ref shirt that's always red. They look like Allen Iverson arm sleeves, and he's got his bright red shoes, so he's very distinguishable to other referees. Do that with JR. Have him just do the main event. Have him just do title matches and make it special, and then he can kind of take a breather and only do those matches.
hmm
Early UFC, Big John McCarthy, the big stocky referee, only did title matches and main events. Make it kind of like that. So that was cool to see, and I thought Taz and um, who was it? Was it Taz and Shivani still
yeah.
that opened the show? No, it was Excalibur. Taz and Excalibur I thought worked really well
Oh,
together, and then they brought Tony in and
Tony,
they worked
yeah.
well together. Taz is just great on
Oh
commentary, I
yeah,
guess is what I'm trying to say. So if he's
100%.
gonna get more Dynamite reps, I'm all for it. Then you bring in JR can be the closer. You bring him in at the end, and I'm all for that.
Oh yeah.
A few other things before we jump over to the other side of things. Kind of AEW related, kind of not, but Ring of Honor announced its next pay per view, Death Before Dishonor, just over a month away. It's July 23rd, and I feel like this is the show that'll then launch them into like whatever television they're going to start filming. Because that other show was just proving that Ring of Honor isn't dead, I think. And you've heard more and more about like guys that are signing with through AEW, but they know they're going to be in Ring of Honor, like Roosh. He's been on AEW, but we think he'll be on Ring of Honor. When Colt Cabana re-signed, it'll mostly be for Ring of Honor. There's obviously no matches yet, but like I'm looking forward to another pay-per-view type thing that we can look forward to. So that kind of wraps up the AEW side of things. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to review Money in the Bank that is this weekend, so stick around. Okay, so before we actually get into Money in the Bank, there was one thing I forgot to end tonight on. We already know for sure as far as Forbidden Door goes, because people are wondering, this is a bold move, bringing in all these Japanese guys, working with New Japan. Is it worth it? Tony Khan has basically already come out and said that the whole venture netted about $5 million. That was $1 million gate in tickets, and then over $4 million in pay-per-view buys. So overall, I think from the in-ring and the out-ring, it was a success. So just wanted to cap it off on that. Good job for the boys there. And there was one other injury I forgot about when I was trying to list all the injuries. Matt Cardona, the NWA champion, had to vacate the title. So even indie wrestling isn't safe right now. So they ended up putting the title up at the pay-per-view, and Trevor Murdoch won it, and he's now a two-time NWA champion. I'm sure Cardona's going to want to get his belt back whenever he's healthy. Similar injury to Cody. He didn't get the whole blown out blood vessel thing, but I believe he also tore a pec. So they're going to be on semi-similar timeline. So when you see one back, you can maybe expect to see the other around the same time. So I just wanted to throw those two out there. Another show affected by injuries is Money in the Bank this coming Sunday or Saturday. I forget when they're doing this one.
Saturday.
It is Saturday. Okay, good on them. That was smart of them to do it that way. I think it's safe to assume this was going to be Cody's moment. He was going to win the briefcase, and then however they wanted to maneuver it from there. He was the only wrestler in the Money in the Bank commercial back when they were going to do it in the Vegas stadium, in the Vegas football stadium. Now they're doing it in the Vegas hockey stadium, which is still a great venue, so no big deal. So clearly, whoever wins this is going to be Plan B. So we'll get to that at the end, though, because there's only a handful of other matches. Let's start with Bianca Belair and Carmella. I think it's pretty obvious Carmella kind of had her moment in the sun. She's been champion before. I don't think they're ready to get it off Bianca, especially with the rumor that Sasha Banks is probably released. I think it even happened as early back as the 10th, so 3 full weeks ago at this point. And it's safe to say that whatever they would have done with Sasha moving forward is going to be Bianca's thing to take. So I think it's pretty obvious that she retains the title and keeps on rolling, because she's been on a roll even through all this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Carmella is good.
Yeah,
she's improved a lot over the years.
She's better than a lot of people give her credit for
Oh
sure.
yeah, people hate on her for no reason, I think.
Yep, big time.
Yeah, but I could definitely see Bianca winning this. If it was anyone else, I could see Carmella winning probably.
Yeah. Let's just do both women's title matches back to back. Ronda Rousey and Natalya. This would be huge for Natalya, but it's not going to happen. I think if they needed to get the belt off of Rousey, Natty would be the one to do it, because she'd have to play ball, because Natty has some experience dealing with all this sort of thing. Yeah. And Natty's just another person that you can just we don't know who to challenge for. Who can we throw in this match with zero, little to no build and get a guaranteed C+ match and above out of? And then they dust off Natty and they send her out there and she performs. But yeah, Ronda will find a way to win this. I think that's pretty obvious.
Sure. I just wish that this match was a submissions match, because both of them got submission finish. They're good at submissions.
Yeah.
But I just wish that this match was a submissions only match. But true. Yeah, Ronda definitely is gonna win this.
In the way WWE books things, this might not be the last one, so you might still get your submission match down the road. I agree they could have probably just went right into it, but if Cody, Seth 3 within 3 months is any indication, they find something they like, they're going to keep going back to it. Talking about something that they like, the Usos against the Street Profits for the undisputed tag team titles. I'd be really shocked if the Street Profits win here. I like Street Profits a lot. We've seen these two teams face each other a lot, and I think whatever they're doing with Roman, they're just going to keep rolling with. I mean, the T-shirts of all these guys with all the belts makes more reason for them to keep it this way.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm going Usos.
yeah. I'm going Usos as well. We're 3 for 3 together.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I will say this though, I wouldn't be surprised if the Street Profits win, just because Montez Ford and is killing it, the same as Angelo Dawkins, and I won't be surprised as well if you see them break up.
Well, that's the thing. I was actually going to lean the other way, is because this is like all the chips on the table type moment. So
Yeah.
let's say like Dawkins gets pinned, and Ford isn't about that life. Like
Mhm.
what if this stems the breakup? Even I could see that coming.
Yeah.
Because you could tell Montez Ford, he's always been a star, but he's ready. He's
Oh
bulked
yeah,
up
for
even
sure.
more, which only matters in that company. But he's done it, so like it's ready to go. And they're down some people, so you never know. They could use another guy like him. He'd basically be on. He'd be like their Dante Martin if I had to compare him to like an AW level person already. Like he could just have a great singles match with anybody.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think we're gonna disagree. We might disagree on this next one, but overall, I don't think we disagree until the ladder matches. But this one was thrown on there late. Theory and Bobby Lashley. They hold Bobby in pretty high regard, but Theory's like the new teacher's pet. And I still think we had the whole John Cena thing. I still think we're gonna get Theory and Cena. So for that to happen, I think Theory needs to still hold the belt. But this could happen at SummerSlam. So there's enough time for Lashley to win it and Theory win it back. So really, it's up in the air, but I'll stick with Theory.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Theory as well. I could see some shenanigans happen probably,
Mm-hmm.
to cause Bobby to lose. Um, I wish it was Theory and Ali again,
Yeah.
and Ali winning this match, but we get what we get, right?
Yep, exactly. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of the regular stuff. I'll be the first to admit that the Ezekiel and Elias stuff is some of the best I've seen them do in a long time, and it's hilarious. And it sucks we didn't get the Kevin Owens against one of them match because I guess one of them was sick. I don't. I think it was the brothers. I
The
don't think
other
it was
brother,
Kevin
yeah.
Owens. He was there. So yeah, one. I don't know if it's COVID or COVID protocol or whatever. Um, there's a chance that maybe they make an announcement on SmackDown tomorrow that gets moved on to here, but you never know. But that's just credit where it's due. It started off ridiculous, and while it is ridiculous, it's at least entertaining ridiculous. So
Yeah.
there's that. Let's do the women's Money in the Bank. We have Lacey Evans, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Raquel Gonzalez, Asuka, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch. I'll let you take this one because you've probably been watching more than me to have any idea. Because all these people, I'd give like Shotzi the least likely, but like everyone else is pretty plausible. Even Raquel maybe a little lower, but still everyone else pretty plausible.
I think it's gonna be either, and I hate saying this, I think it's gonna be either Becky, Raquel, or even Lacey Evans, because they've been putting a lot of stuff into Lacey Evans and then a lot of stuff into Raquel, but it's Becky Lynch as well. So
Yeah.
it's like it's out of those three people. Now I wouldn't be shocked if Liv Morgan or hell even Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
So that one's really hard to predict
It's pretty wide
because
open. Yeah.
yeah, because I mean you could have Becky lose, like Becky's like almost there and she gets tipped over. That
Yeah.
just furthers her storyline of her like mentally going insane.
Hmm.
Um, and like one of the other three I said, yeah,
I'm
one of
gonna
the other three
go.
win.
I think who I think will win I might go with Lacey Evans, but then I'm gonna continue to call it the Ember Moon spot that I want to see it happen, so I'm gonna keep picking it. And Ember Moon's now in AEW, and she seems to be doing well. I'm gonna go with Liv Morgan because at least it's somebody a little different on that mainstream line. So who's your actual pick? I'll go with Lacey Evans is who I think, and Liv Morgan is who I want. So if you get those,
Okay,
fill
so
those two spots.
those two spots.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's gonna be Becky,
Okay.
but I want give me Alexa.
Okay. Good stuff. That then leads us to the what I assume will be the main event, the Money in the Bank ladder match for the undisputed world title. Seth Franklin Rollins. Oh, it's freaking Rollins against Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Omos, Sami Zayn, Riddle, and there's still a TBD. Do we know who the? Is there a match announced, or we don't know anything?
I'm pretty sure they're gonna do something tomorrow on
Right, but we
on
don't know we
SmackDown.
don't know the
Yeah,
match or anything. Okay.
yeah,
Um,
nothing yet.
in years past, they've done like a last chance battle royal thing. So like the people
But
that didn't.
it's funny though because they did that on Monday.
Oh, did they? Okay, so there's that.
Yeah,
So yeah, who knows? So just based on the people involved, um, I am actually gonna go Riddle because I think the original next plan was gonna be Orton and Reigns, and like we did get Riddle on SmackDown that ended up being a very good match. Really, the only one that's gonna hurt my feelings is like Omos. Like if he wins after only having to step up like two rungs on the ladder, I'll be pretty annoyed. Um, I mean Rollins, I don't know where else they want to do it. Sami Zayn would be really fun because he would just be running. He'd be more happy that he won the belt, won the briefcase, and he wouldn't even think about when he's cashing it in. So
Yeah. I don't know
I
if you
think
heard he said that if he was to win, he's not gonna cash it in on Roman.
who's he gonna cash it in on?
He's just gonna hold on to
Just for okay.
it.
I'd be all for, and like they don't know what they want to do because like you can't convince me this wasn't for Cody. So give it to Sammy, and he also doesn't know what he wants to do with it. So I think that'd be funny. But yeah, I think the Riddle Reigns match we got recently, it made people say like, oh, we got something here. So I could see him getting that. So I'll go. I think Riddle, and I want Sammy.
Okay. I think it's going to be Seth, just because the story I could
The
I could
Seth and Roman story
like
is not over. So yeah, I agree.
yeah, and like I definitely see this happening.
Mhm.
Like Seth wins, Seth cashes in at SummerSlam, because Roman's going against Brock Lesnar
Yeah.
in the Last Man Standing match. Unfortunately, yeah.
Dude, I don't even want to talk about that.
but whoever wins that match, Seth is gonna cash in, win the titles, and then Cody Rhodes comes back at Royal Rumble, wins Royal Rumble, challenges Seth at WrestleMania. I think the story's there. Right, the story's right there because basically when they ripped off Cody Rhodes off of TV when they didn't really need to write him off.
Yeah.
The night after Hell in a Cell,
Mhm.
Seth Rollins basically made the injury even worse.
Yeah.
And that's all like I don't know. Did you see Monday? Did you watch Monday night?
A little bit. Yeah.
You saw when Cody did the interview.
Yeah.
He was talking about Seth winning. So
Mhm.
he wants Seth to win. I think that's gonna happen.
Right. So we get
Um,
we get Seth and Cody 4
yeah,
yeah.
but this time for the
For the
title. So
title, and it'll be a full year from the first one.
yeah,
So like,
and in the main event of WrestleMania. That right there
yeah,
is top tip of the iceberg right there.
yeah,
But
that's as good as story writing as you can get in WWE too. So
yeah,
like, they're like, look how we fell ass backwards into this year long story. Like
yeah, for real.
maybe like, see, look how good we can do, and it's like, yeah, totally plan that.
But I guess I wouldn't mind Riddle winning,
Yeah,
but then also I wouldn't mind uh Drew McIntyre.
yeah,
Even though he already announced that he wants to go against Roman in the at the show
in
in
Wales.
Wales.
Yeah, that's true. That's an option, but that can happen with or without the briefcase.
Yeah, without
I
yeah.
mean, if you give him the briefcase, it can be very obvious, and you can be like, boom, like it gets rid of that storyline immediately, and like Drew winning the title again. We've talked about it. I think when we started the show, he was champion. It was still COVID, and like we kind of glossed over it, but like Moxley winning the AEW title, he was basically champion through the entire pandemic. Only like he'd go to the even when there was fans, it was like under 1,000 people. So even if it's interim, he's gonna get his victory lap as champion now with packed arenas again.
Mhm.
Um, so that's cool, and like Drew McIntyre deserves his version of that at some point too. And you never know, like because Roman's barely there anymore, he could like challenge for just one of the belts.
Yeah.
Because they haven't gone out of their way to say like, no, this is one thing again. Like it is right now, but it doesn't mean it is forever. So like he could challenge like for the WWE title only, and then keep the Universal thing going with whoever. I don't know that they're going to do it that way, but there is a few options. We have all these really good ideas, and they're just gonna say screw you, Sheamus, and then Sheamus wins. And we won't know what to
Now,
go from there.
I can see what I can see them doing. Like,
Sheamus and
okay,
McIntyre in Wales.
no, not even. I can see that too.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Mm.
But I was thinking like on the lines of okay, so uh, let's say what's his name? Drew McIntyre wins the Money in the Bank,
Yeah.
right? Or hell, Seth Rollins won the Money in the Bank. And on the contract, it says you pick a title, and
Mm-hmm.
they pick like the WWE title
Yeah.
is on the contract, and not the actual, not the Universal title
Right.
is not attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And like Seth wins after the match after the match at SummerSlam, and Paul Heyman comes out and says, on the contract it says the WWE title,
Not
not the
the
Universal.
undisputed Universal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I can see that.
you're gonna get this, you're gonna get the WWE title. Roman's gonna keep the Universal title, and then
Yeah.
Roman loses it in Wales.
Yeah. Yeah. All good ideas. So we'll see.
Book me, Vince. Come on, man.
So yeah, I mean it's a short show. I haven't really followed as much, but like Money in the Bank, the Money in the Bank matches are always going to be fun. So I'll definitely
Yeah.
check this out. I'm glad it's on a Saturday, not Sunday, because 4th of July weekend and all that. So that's cool. Any other thoughts, comments, questions before we get out of here?
Um, who do you think that last person is gonna be?
That's what I tried to. I'm trying to think who's left either. They can give you a wild card. Because it's this week, unless they do because the Ezekiel Owens things, that's a Raw feud, so I don't really know who's. I mean, they could throw Ali a bone or something. Like I know he's kind of on. Is he on Raw? No, he's on SmackDown, right?
He's on Raw.
Not that it matters anymore. They've
Yeah.
effectively killed the brand split. Just to give you an answer, I'll go Ali, just because like they need. Sammy's like the smallest dude. Again, Rollins are the smaller dudes in this match. You might need one more smaller guy to make some of these spots happen. Or you can just, go with what works and find a way to get Shelton Benjamin in here. Just because he's always kills it in these matches. What about you? Any thought?
The last person, I could see them doing something with Madcap or even dang, what's his name?
Corbin?
Nah, not Corbin, because Corbin's tied up with Pat McAfee right now.
I'm excited for that. That's going to be a SummerSlam thing, and that's
Yeah.
that's going to be sweet. I'm looking forward to that very much. It's
But,
about time.
yeah,
I've been
I
saying
see
for a
that.
while, right? Because they have history.
Yeah.
They were teammates. Yeah, we'll look forward to that for sure.
But yeah, definitely, I think it'll probably be Madcap, probably, or Shinsuke.
Shinsuke, it could be Jake Paul. He just signed.
Logan.
Whatever.
They're both assholes. It's okay.
Yeah. So we were talking right before we started recording. Like, I'm not gonna 100% hate on this because we did see him at WrestleMania and he did B+, A-. Like, he did great. If we hadn't seen him wrestle and we would have all assumed he was the shits and we would like not care about this. Is this like he signed with WWE now? Is this just to have his payback against The Miz on SummerSlam? Like,
I believe it's a year contract right now. I believe.
so like clearly he'll do the Miz thing, and then you might get him in like 1 to 2 other things, and then
I think he'll probably be like at the big stuff.
it's like it's probably like a 10 appearance deal or something.
Like Brock or like Brock or Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what would you do if Goldberg was the last person?
I mean, they've had Lesnar walk in the middle of this match when he wasn't in the match and win the match. So I mean, if Sergeant Slaughter can walk, like you never know these days. I have no idea with this company, but like I said, the Ezekiel and Elias thing is hilarious, and I'm really looking forward to the Pat McAfee Corbin thing, just because McAfee's going to be amazing in that, and we'll see how the rest of this shakes out. But yeah, that's about it for us, guys. Thanks for clicking on and hanging out with us, talking some wrestling, and we'll see you guys next time. Enjoy Money in the Bank.